SNAP, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is an ever-evolving tool that provides support and assistance to those in need. Joining us today to talk about an upcoming change is Connelly-Anne Ragley, Chief External Affairs Officer of the South Carolina Department of Social Services. Connelly-Anne, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on and to talk about this very important program that benefits around 300,000 households in South Carolina each month.
Wow, how incredible is that? And now there are quite a few changes happening. Can you talk about some of those?
Sure. So the changes that occurred it's a decision made at the federal level. So I always want to make that very clear that this is not something that we are making changes at the state level, but as the state agency that is responsible for determining eligibility, we do have to enforce these changes that were decided by the federal government and the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Food and Nutrition Service. But specifically, the changes are coming to the SNAP program for individuals that are called able-bodied adults without dependents, meaning they don't have children under the age of 18 in their household. They may be called ABODs for short. And so what we saw beginning in September 1st, DSS would begin screening for new ABODs that were between the ages of 18 and 50. So previously, that number was a little bit shorter. It did not go until the age 50, but beginning September 1st, the screening criteria was applied for those 18 to 50 who are applying for SNAP assistance. And then on October 1st, the federal government expanded that age bracket and then included individuals that were ages 51 and 52. So for the month of October and from here on until the federal government changes the requirements, we'll be screening for ABODs for ages 18 to 52. Now, there are some exemptions for households applying for SNAP. And I think they're really important because we do have a lot of these communities in our area, in our state, especially veterans, because that is one of the criteria that if you meet that, you can get an exemption from the work requirements. If you're under the age of 18 or you're over the age of 53, that is an exemption, as well as if you have a medical certified and you've been deemed as physically or mentally unfit for employment. You're living in a SNAP household with a minor. That gets back to the whole dependent question, that you are pregnant. Again, I said if you're a veteran and recognized for service in the U.S. Armed Forces, you're homeless, or you are 24 years of age or younger and you have aged out of foster care. Those are the exemptions, and those are the criteria to exempt out of the work requirements.
Okay, and now Connelly-Anne, I know that these changes happen at the federal level. Do you have any insight on why they decided to extend the age?
So from everything I've seen, that this was part of a negotiation between Congress and President Biden. So don't have any specific information, but from my understanding is that this was required as part of a deal that needed to occur to keep our federal government open and working, and this was a decision that was made some time ago. I do want to mention about the work requirement is that those that don't have an exemption for one of those criteria that we talked about, that fall between that age of 18 to 52, the requirements to receive SNAP benefits is that they must work 20 hours per week for an average of 80 hours a month. Okay. And, also qualifying work can be in exchange for money or compensation. It can be in kind, unpaid, or at an established volunteer site. So I want to be really clear with that it's not just working per se for 80 hours a month. It could also be in the form of volunteerism at an approved site. Okay, wonderful. And now, who do you feel like these changes will have the biggest impact on directly? So I think when we look at South Carolina, we still see that the need is high for assistance with food and putting food on the table of families. As we look at the age bracket, those over the age of 52, we're definitely going to have the biggest impact. Before the requirements were ages 18 to 49. Mm-hmm. So essentially we're adding 3 years worth or 3 years that need to be screened for the ABOD requirement. And so, again, I don't know of a particular area of the state that might be impacted more than others, but what we've been trying to do is just let people know about these changes. And we started announcing them in August, at the beginning of August, end of July, letting people know that these changes are coming so that they can be prepared as they recertify or maybe they apply for SNAP assistance for the first time.
Mm-hmm. And now, Connelly-Anne, where can our viewers go to learn more about these changes?
Sure. So we've got a lot of information on our website at dss.sc.gov. If you click under the Assistance tab and click on SNAP, we also have a service thanks to some funding from Duke Energy, and you can text the letters DSS to 211-211, and that is how you can connect to us. We call it our Text to Connect program, and you can receive specific information there about SNAP. But I did want to just leave you with, our participation rates in September. For the month of September, we had over 298,000 households that received SNAP benefits, and that represents about 613,000 individuals, and that's about $112.6 million that was paid out in SNAP benefits for the month of September.
Wow, Connelly-Anne. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will put the website and the text information down below. Once again, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We're back after this.